Okay, so first you need to have your watercolor palette, a cup of water and a brush, and some paper towels, and then something to draw a circle with, and paper. So I'm just going to take this handy dandy compass, and I'm going to be bad and use pen. You would want to use a pencil really lightly. And I'm going to go to the farthest circle, and I'm going to make about 6 circles, and they're not going to be super even on the paper. This is really not the time for total perfectionism. We are just practicing. I think if I had moved that other row up more, I probably could have gotten one more circle, but we'll call that good for now. So I'm going to take my brush, it's just wet with water, and then I'm going to take a little bit of my yellow paint. Let's move that where you can see. And this is not a watercolor paper, so it is not very cooperative, and it wants to disintegrate. When you go to the store and you buy watercolor paper, there's different kinds, and there's some that'll be like a block. It'll say Arches, and that stuff is super expensive, and it is like amazing. But the block is cool because then you don't have to tape your paper down, and I'm being bad and I didn't tape mine down. If you tape it down, it's better because it'll keep your paper from curling, because you know it's like when you get paper wet, whoops, I almost knocked that water over. When you get it wet, it wants to go like that. It's not good. Okay, so I just added a little yellow, and then I'm going to add just a hint of orange, because I want to create a little more three-dimensional form. And then I'm just going to add a little water. And I'm not going to do the whole thing outlined orange, just this one side, like there's a little beam of light. And you can even add a little bit more if you want. And then I just am gently trying to kind of blend that, so then that way it's not like an orange line. It's supposed to be like this gentle transition of yellow into orange. So then I'm going to make another one that's going to be yellow and green. I'm going to try to use less pigment, more water up here at the top. I should have done that on that one too. And I also can take a piece of my paper towel and just kind of press that down firmly. And because this is not watercolor paper, this has created kind of a weird line, but I think I can fix it. But you can start to build a little more of a highlight there. In theory, you could sponge some color off. So now I'm going to take a little bit of the lime green. And your palette might have a different green that's darker. You could add a little yellow to it if you wanted it to be brighter. And so I added a little green, added a little bit of water. I'm trying to get it to kind of spread a little bit. So that way it's starting to feel more like a sphere. See, this one without the highlight feels more flat. And you could even add maybe a little yellow kind of there. And so again, we're just practicing. So now I'm going to try a red one. I'm going to put the primary amount of red on the left side, and then I'm going to add more water. And I got a little bit out of the lines. Okay, now to create a shadow with red, you could try purple, you could try brown. With watercolor especially, you don't really want to mix black paint to make things darker. It's too powerful. So I've got a little bit of brown paint. Maybe add a little bit more. And so this begins to make a nice shadow. And I can try to sponge off. Let's just see what happens. Sponge off a little color right there. It really had already absorbed. I think we could make that a little smoother. Just a little water. Okay, this time I'll make a green one. A little bit of water with no added paint. Sponge off a little color. That worked a little bit better. Yeah, that's better. And then I would probably say you could go with either blue, purple, or brown. You could even try red. Like if you mixed the red kind of preemptively with the green. I'm gonna do blue. Okay, so we're going to dilute it with just water. That one might be my favorite one so far. You can try, let's do another yellow one. We'll mix it with a little purple. Let's do maybe orange. A little bit of brown. You can go back and maybe add a little bit more orange. And you can see I've overworked the paper because now it's making these little gross, like scraggly things. So as I lighten with just water on this other side, that purple really absorbed quickly into the paper though. It's like real splotchy. I'm going to add a little bit more purple. I'm going to try to sponge off some color. There's nothing, the sponge is absorbed. You can see it, like it went from shiny to like a matte finish. Let's see, how do we make purple darker? What do we think? I'm gonna try brown. The blue might have been prettier. I'm gonna add a little purple to it. Okay, let's do blue on the last one, and let's try purple as its shadow color. And this is a pretty blue too. It's kind of turquoisey. Let's do purple. Okay, there you have it, some watercolor spheres. Now, you know, there's a little bit of a line here. Would I like it to be more of a cloudy effect? Yes. Should I have added a little more of a highlight here? Yeah. You can see the difference when you don't have the highlight and how this looks a lot more flat, just like a, you know, just flat, and then like this one turned out really well. So it just takes practice.